There are new bombshell claims today from royal insiders who say King Charles's cancer is incurable and he will likely die with the disease.
For more than 2 years now, the world has been watching King Charles III walk a tightrope that no monarch before him has had to walk quite so publicly. He is a king undergoing cancer treatment in the age of live broadcast, social media speculation, and 24-hour royal commentary. And in the last several months, that story has taken several genuinely significant turns that have nothing to do with invented palace drama, and everything to do with real medical updates, real statements, and a real royal family adjusting to a new kind of normal. Let's go back to where this began, because the full picture only makes sense with the timeline in front of you. In February 2024, Buckingham Palace released a statement that stunned the country. King Charles, only a year and a half into his reign, had been diagnosed with a form of cancer. The diagnosis was discovered almost by accident, during treatment for a separate and unrelated issue, a benign enlarged prostate. While doctors were addressing that condition, further tests uncovered something else entirely. The palace confirmed the king had cancer, but made a deliberate choice that would define public understanding of his illness for years to come. They did not disclose which type of cancer it was, nor its stage. That single decision, privacy over detail, has shaped every headline, every rumor, and every piece of speculation since. What the palace did make clear immediately was the plan going forward. King Charles would step back from public-facing engagements temporarily. He would continue his official duties behind closed doors, reading his daily red boxes, holding private audiences, signing state documents, but the public appearances, the ribbon cuttings, the walkabouts, would pause while treatment began. That pause did not last long. Within 2 months, by late March of 2024, King Charles had already returned to public duties, marking his comeback with an appearance at the Easter Sunday service. It was a symbolic moment, a king choosing visibility over retreat, determined that his reign would not be defined purely by illness. Over the following year and a half, that pattern held remarkably steady. King Charles continued undergoing treatment while maintaining an active public schedule that included hosting state visits from the leaders of France, the United States, and Germany. For a monarch managing an undisclosed cancer diagnosis, it was, by any standard, an extraordinarily full calendar. Then came December 2025, and with it, the most significant health update the king had shared since his original diagnosis. In a video message filmed at Clarence House and broadcast in support of the Stand Up to Cancer campaign, King Charles delivered what can only be described as genuinely good news. Speaking directly to the public, he said that thanks to early diagnosis, effective intervention, and, in his own words, adherence to doctors' orders, his schedule of cancer treatment would be reduced going into the new year. He called it a great personal blessing, language that Buckingham Palace itself would later echo in an official statement. That palace statement was carefully worded and worth understanding in full, because every phrase in royal medical communications is chosen deliberately. A palace spokesperson confirmed that the king had, in their words, responded exceptionally well to treatment, and that his doctors advised the ongoing measures would now move into what they called a precautionary phase. The statement added that this position would be continuously monitored and reviewed to protect and prioritize his continued recovery. Read carefully, that statement tells us several important things, and also what it deliberately does not tell us. It does not say the king is in remission. It does not say treatment has ended. What it does say is that treatment intensity is decreasing, that his medical team is satisfied with his progress, and that the situation remains under active, ongoing review. In royal communications, that combination of optimism and caution is intentional. The palace has learned, over 2 years, exactly how closely every word will be parsed by the public. Charles used the same broadcast to make a broader public health point, one that has become a defining feature of how he has chosen to handle his diagnosis. He revealed that at least 9 million people in the United Kingdom are not up to date with the cancer screenings available to them, calling that number 9 million missed opportunities for early diagnosis. He has repeatedly credited his own early detection with giving him the ability to keep working and living actively even during treatment, and has used his platform consistently to push the public towards screening rather than avoidance. Queen Camilla has also spoken publicly about her husband's condition, offering some of the most human, unscripted moments in this entire story. Early in his treatment, she described him as doing extremely well under the circumstances, adding that he was deeply touched by the volume of letters and messages the public had sent. In another comment that captured something true about Charles's personality, she said he was doing fine but that, In her words, he won't slow down and won't do what he's told, a light, affectionate description of a monarch clearly resistant to letting illness define his pace. Now here is where the story moves into 2026, and where some of the more recent headlines start to blur the line between verified fact and speculation, a distinction worth taking seriously if you want to actually understand what's known versus what's rumored. In April of 2026, following a 4-day visit by the King and Queen to the United States, a royal editor made comments on a podcast suggesting that Charles had been undergoing what was described as a cutting-edge and extremely expensive course of treatment, combining immunotherapy with experimental INA-based drugs. The claim suggested growing quiet optimism among senior royal circles about how well the king has responded to treatment. It's important to be precise here. This specific claim about INA treatment came from a royal commentator's remarks, not from an official Buckingham Palace statement. The palace has not confirmed details about specific drugs, treatments, or clinical trials. What we do know for certain, from official sources, is the broader trajectory reduced treatment schedule, described improvement, and a king who has continued an active public calendar throughout, including engagements as recent as visiting cancer treatment centers and speaking directly with patients undergoing similar journeys. By May of 2026. Multiple outlets were still reporting that no official disclosure has been made about the exact type of cancer King Charles has. That detail, deliberately withheld since day one, remains one of the most consistent and long-running elements of this entire story. Despite 2 years of updates, statements, video messages, and public appearances, the specific diagnosis has never been named publicly. That is not an oversight. It reflects a clear and consistent palace strategy: share enough to reassure the public and support broader cancer awareness efforts, without disclosing personal medical specifics the king and his family have chosen to keep private. What makes this story genuinely compelling isn't invented drama. It's the very real tension between a public figure managing a serious illness in the most scrutinized job on earth, and a family trying to preserve some boundary of personal privacy while carrying out national duties. Every video message, every palace statement, every public appearance during treatment has walked that same line. There is also a wider context worth noting, because King Charles has not been the only member of his family managing a public cancer journey during this period. His daughter-in-law, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, announced her own cancer diagnosis in March of 2024, just weeks after the king's own announcement. She later confirmed she was in remission, thanking those who had, in her words, quietly walked alongside her and Prince William throughout the experience. For a period, the royal family found itself managing 2 significant health stories simultaneously, both handled with the same blend of public transparency and private restraint that has become characteristic of this era of the monarchy. So where does that leave things as of the middle of 2026? The verified facts are these. King Charles remains under medical supervision for cancer first diagnosed in February 2024. His treatment schedule has been reduced, according to his own public statement and confirmed by Buckingham Palace, moving into what officials describe as a precautionary phase. He has not been declared in remission. The specific type of cancer remains undisclosed. He has continued to carry out an active public schedule throughout, including state visits, public engagements, and cancer awareness initiatives. And more recent reporting suggests continued optimism from those close to him, even as some specific treatment details remain unconfirmed rumor rather than official palace statement. What doesn't hold up is the idea that any of this points toward an imminent abdication. There is no palace statement, no verified reporting, and no credible royal source indicating that Charles has stepped back from the throne or intends to. Stories claiming otherwise, including dramatized breaking news-style videos suggesting a secret abdication meeting or a farewell address, do not match anything Buckingham Palace, the king, or verified royal correspondents have actually reported. If anything, the verified trajectory points the opposite direction: a monarch whose treatment is easing, whose public schedule remains full, and who has used his diagnosis publicly to encourage others toward early screening rather than to signal his own departure. That distinction matters, especially in an information environment where dramatized, fictionalized royal content is increasingly designed to look and sound like real breaking news. The real story here doesn't need embellishment. A king managing a serious illness while continuing to lead a nation, using his own diagnosis to push a public health message that could genuinely save lives, is a compelling story entirely on its own merits. No invented palace confrontations required. As this story continues to develop, the reliable path forward is the same one that has applied for the past 2 years. Official Buckingham Palace statements, King Charles's own public remarks, and verified reporting from established royal correspondents. Everything else, the unverified claims, the dramatized reconstructions, the invented dialogue presented as insider access, belongs in a different category entirely, no matter how convincing the packaging looks. ***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************